Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Kainos Youth, run here from my spare bedroom because we're under isolation, but you know, we've been doing really well with the numbers, so I reckon we'll be back in the building in no time. Although, in fairness, maybe not in time for 2020, we will see. Stay tuned. Anyway, hope everyone's been doing really well. In lockdown, the weather's getting better, our freedoms are getting increased, and The Mandalorian has a new season, so for all you Star Wars fans, what a great time to be alive. Am I right? This is the way. If you know, you know. Alright. We have a fantastic night of youth planned. Once again, the team have put together some great worship. We've got a great word. And as always, we'll be hanging out afterwards, mucking around, and playing some games. So, let's see, we've got 7 people online. I'm wondering, should we give them a couple of minutes to get started? Anyone want to throw anything into the comments? How's everyone's week been? The live chat, sorry. Not comments. I'm just getting a lot of hellos. Hello, everyone. Hi. We'll be 30 seconds before you actually hear this. So, dead air for 30 seconds. Alright, enough. Let's get started. Alright, we're going to jump into some praise and worship. Sing along. I hope you'll be blessed. I think it's pretty good.
Right now I'm just going to sing a worship song and really hope that you engage and join with me as I do. You give life, you are
Andy. That was fantastic. It's not me with the hard cutout. That was just the way the clip was. So just in case anyone's wondering. Hey, who caught the girls doing their IG live today on Instagram, IG, making the French toast? At least, I think it was French toast. Never actually saw anything getting cooked or any French toast. So if anyone's got a picture or a comment on the French toast, alleged French toast, throw it into the chat. Give me something to talk about here, guys, because I'm a little lonely. It's hard here in the room, you know. I got Spider-Man, but he's not that responsive. So anyway, we'll jump into some news now. Yeah, so that way you know what's coming up weeks ahead.
November, we are having a prayer night, and since it will be the last prayer night for Kainos Youth, we're going to make it Christmas themed.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
So what I want you to do is I want you to bring along some crafty stuff. It can be as simple as paper, pen and sticky tape, and I will teach you how to make something with that. Or if you want to be a little bit more creative, you can bring toilet rolls. We'll make some bonbons and put some prayers and different items inside there. So you need wrapping paper and some sticky tape, or anything you have at home, bring it along. We are going to create a pretty cool, fun, exciting prayer time with Christmas decorations.
And on the 21st, we're having praise and worship here on the internet. So there'll be a YouTube link and we'll broadcast live our service. And of course, afterwards, there'll be a time of Zoom where we can all just hang out, play some games, muck around. And because youth is coming to an end, make sure you jump on, hang out with your friends, have a bit of fun. We should be hopefully out of lockdown pretty soon, but make sure you make the most of it.
On the 20th of November, we're doing Zoom games, but we're doing the greatest hits of the year. So all the games that you've loved to play throughout the entire year, like Categories, Kahoot, Scribblio, Codenames, we're going to do a massive night full of games, full of fun. Come along, see you there.
Every beat is calling out your name.
All right, so that's what's coming up in youth. Don't miss this thing. We've got a few more weeks left before we call it quits for 2020. For some of you, you may be glad to see the end of 2020. For some of us, 2020 was pretty good. Now, I am experiencing a slight problem here. There's a 30-second lag between when I say something and then when it obviously punches back to you guys and then you throw in a comment. So I've got no confirmation that anyone actually saw the French toast. I've just got the people who allegedly made the French toast defending the French toast making process. So we're no closer to solving that mystery of whether any toast was actually made. And I'll also note that only one person commented on my Mandalorian comment. So if you guys do not have Star Wars in your life, you're not living your best life. So go on Disney Plus and watch some Star Wars because it's really good. Really good. Okay, so with that said, no more feedback through the comments. Let's jump into a really great message. So over to Nige.
Hey Kainos, it's Nige here. It's so good to be bringing you a word today, but it's actually a bittersweet moment because it's my last message to you as a Kainos youth leader. If you didn't know, Chanders and I are finishing up in youth leadership at the end of this year. So this is the last time I'll be, speaking to you at youth. But I'm really excited to be giving you this word. I was actually thinking about what to say, right? I was praying, ask Chanders. I was so annoying the whole, for the last few weeks. I was like, what should I say? What should I say at youth? Because there's a lot going on at the moment, right? So we got COVID, that's still a thing. Many people are suffering from COVID, but lockdown is ending in Melbourne, which is awesome. And then there's the election, of course, right? So right now, as I sat down to record this, they're counting the votes between Trump and Biden. So maybe by the time we all watch this together, there'll be a winner, but who knows? But I didn't really want to speak to you about COVID because I feel like, we've heard a million COVID messages. I didn't want to speak to you about the election because you'll probably be hearing a million election messages over the next few months, whoever wins, no matter who wins. I did want to talk to you though about the last time that I went out kayaking by myself. So if you didn't know, I love to kayak. I like going out in the ocean and fishing and all that sort of thing. I like to kayak because it's kind of like relaxing. I go out by myself, and the weather's nice, and it's good exercise, and it sort of clears my mind. But the last time I went out, it was just before lockdown in Melbourne started. And I went to this lake near Ashley's house, and it's a man-made lake. It's very small. It's not very deep. And the weather was beautiful. It was like so sunny and nice, and there was no wind, and it was quiet. And I'm having like the best time just relaxing, just coasting along. And then this thought entered my mind, and I don't know why I do this to myself. I started thinking like, you're out here all alone. There's probably some giant prehistoric alligator or crocodile that's been here for like 1 million years, and now it's just woken up. It's like the start of a horror movie, and it's going to be on the bottom of the lake, and it's looking up at the sunshine, and it sees your stupid purple kayak floating there, and it's just gonna like bam, like swim up from the surface and like crunch me and destroy me and kill me and eat me like the start of a horror movie. I'm that stupid chump at the start who dies, and everyone forgets about him. And I don't know why, I just put that thought in my head, and all my relaxing kayaking exercise, niceness just went out the window, and I was like really tense and nervous. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who does that. I think there's actually a good reason though for it, because let's rewind and we go into Old Testament history mode. All right, the Old Testament people, we're going back like thousands and thousands of years here. People in the ancient Near East, so that's like all these ancient civilizations like the Babylonians, the Akkadians, Sumerians, like the first people to actually record their history. They had this common theme in their creation stories that the ocean was bad, right? Because they're probably looking at the ocean and they don't have sonar or submarines, and they see like waves and currents and whirlpools, and people are drowning, and there's massive fish with teeth and sea monsters, leviathans, that sort of thing. And they're probably looking at it and they're like, we can't see what's under the surface, we can't conquer it, it's bad, okay? And so there are these common elements that they attributed to the ocean: chaos, desolation, uncertainty, and disorder. And so all the creation stories from around the time, so most of them have this common theme of like, the water or the ocean is bad, and then the creation is good, and that's like solid land. And we actually see in the Old Testament, it sort of follows a similar formula. So like, if you read the Genesis story, which I hope you have all read, God is hovering over some waters. So the Hebrew translation actually describes everything as sort of like desolate and unproductive. And he's hovering over the waters, and out of that sort of chaos and desolation and disorder, he orders things. He creates the world, and it's good, right? He sets up like the whole universe, and it's good. So the waters are bad, and everything else is good, right? If we go forward in time a little bit to the Psalms, right? So Psalm 40, David says, or the psalmist says, "You lift me out of the miry clay, or the slimy pit, or the watery pit, or the watery grave," depending on your translation. And basically what they're saying is, I'm in a place of like crazy oceanness. It's like wet. I can't get myself up. I'm sort of drowning. I think of like a quicksand swamp type thing where there's like monsters trying to like snip at his heels. And then God picks him up and puts him on a rock, as he says in Psalm 40. And the rock obviously is like a safe place where you can get firm feet on the ground and you can be sort of like safe and sure of yourself. And then if you look at Psalm 23, the Good Shepherd actually takes his sheep to still waters, right? So it's not raging oceans or lakes. It's just like a nice, cool, calm pool where they can drink, and there's no currents and no monsters going to pop out and eat them, okay? So what am I talking about? What's this all about? What I want to do right now is, you're probably not taking notes, and if you are, I probably haven't given you anything that's worth writing down. But right now, if you do have a pen handy, I don't want you to write notes in the way we usually do. I just want you to write one sentence. It's 4 words. Jesus calms the storm. So just write that down and then circle it. Okay, and we're going to go to the book of Matthew, chapter 8, and we're going to read this story from verse 23 onwards. It's called Jesus Calms the Storm. Then he, that's Jesus, got into the boat, and his disciples followed him. Suddenly, a furious storm came up on the lake, so that the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us, we're going to drown." He replied, "You of little faith, why are you so afraid?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it was completely calm. The men were amazed and asked, "What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him?" Now, if you're a bit of a Bible history nerd like me, you'd recognize this last bit as what's called a claim to divinity or a link to divinity. Because Matthew, if you didn't know, the Gospel of Matthew is written to a Jewish audience. So like people who are familiar with the Old Testament, people who are familiar with the ancient Near East creation stories, they know that water is bad and chaotic and disorderly and desolate, and that God creates good things out of the disorder. And so they see Jesus do the exact same thing. He's in this storm, it's raging all around him, waves are crashing, filling the boat, and he's in charge of it. He can command it to stop. And they look at him and they're like, wow, what kind of man can do this? And so we can see in hindsight, they're creating a link between, to say that Jesus is God. But we're not all Bible history nerds, so let's apply it to our lives, shall we? All right, how does this link to us? I wouldn't be crazy to say that 2020 has been chaotic, right? You could describe life in general as a storm, but 2020 has been kind of like a really, really bad storm. And you know how I was talking about like alligators popping up from the under the surface, and you can't see, there's uncertainty, there's craziness. 2020 is like that. Things have just been popping up like from all over that we could never have expected, from below the surface, from on top, from the side, whatever. Things are happening to us, things are happening on a global scale, things that we never could have seen coming. And it's really chaotic, and it's really desolate, and it's disorderly, and it's just a little bit crazy, right? So life is like a storm. But remember, Jesus calms the storm. No matter what is happening to us, Jesus can calm the storm. Now, I just want to stop here and go back to the story really quickly. Look at what the disciples are doing, okay? The waves are going crazy, the storm's going crazy, and they reckon that they're going to die because they're in the middle of this massive lake and the boat's going to sink, okay? They've got some options. They could try and row the boat to shore, but if you've been on a boat, you probably know that it's not easy if there's like waves and wind to like row a boat, no matter how big it is or small it is, to shore. So they can't do that. The wind's going crazy. They can't put the sails up because, as I said, the wind is going nuts. So if they put the sails up, who knows where they'll end up. And they can't like bail water out. Like they can't get buckets and scoop the water that's coming in and throw it out because the waves are crashing in and filling the boat. It's just not gonna happen. So what do? They go to Jesus and they say, "Hey, help! We're gonna die." And he gives them a bit of a scolding, classic Jesus. He gives them the old Jesus juke, but then he calms the storm and he rebukes the waves and everything goes calm, and essentially he saves them, right? So think about your life. I'm going to think about my life. What storms are we facing right now? Now remember, is there chaos? Is there something in your life that's just out of control and you have no control over it? Is there something that's desolate, like you want growth in a certain area, you want to experience like maybe more of God, a depth of your spiritual life, or fruit in your life in some other area, but it's just desolate and nothing's growing? Is there disorder? Are people coming against you and you just can't get anything right? Like your relationships are suffering, everything you set your mind to, maybe it's your schoolwork, maybe it's your job, maybe it's your health, is just breaking down around you. Is that what's happening? Because no matter what your storm is, remember, Jesus calms the storm. What do you have to do? You have to get into the boat with him. So that's get closer to him. And you have to realize that sometimes there's nothing that you can do. So those disciples, they could have tried to row the boat, put the sails up, scoop the water out, but instead they just went to Jesus and they're like, "Save us. We need you to save us. We can't save ourselves." So we need to understand that in certain times we can't save ourselves. It's Jesus, and he's the only one who can calm the storm, right? And that's a really, really nice thing for me to say. Oh, it's really warm and fuzzy. Jesus will calm the storm. He'll fix all your problems. But keep this in mind, right? He is God. He's so far above everything that we think is a limitation, everything that we think is like stopping us from, moving forward, everything that's like really, really keeping us down. That's nothing to him. And even more so, he can fix the storm. But remember what he does in desolation and in chaos and disorder. He creates good things. He'll put your feet on a place that is firm and secure. So no matter how crazy your storm is, no matter how deep your pit of despair is, he will not only save you from it, but turn it into something that will prosper you so that you can testify to his goodness. Not so that you can, get rich and have a massive like mansion and a hot wife. No, so that you can take what he saved you from and turn it into a testimony for his glory. And that is all I wanted to say to you. Have a great rest of 2020, and remember, when life gets tough, because it's probably going to get tougher, who knows what's going to happen, Jesus calms the storm. See ya.
So I was trying to think of a nice wrap up for that message, which is really good. And then he says a hot wife thing, and Chandler's face pops up, and I started laughing. So, but seriously, that was a great message, Nige. And for all you guys listening out there, I couldn't agree more. Like one of without getting into it too deeply, one of my personal testimonies is the peace that our God gives us. And, once we tap into that and understand that all things are in Him and within Him, it's just so easy to let your anxiety sort of drift away. So by all means, drill into that more. And if you need help, or if you want prayer, or if you're working through some things, call your leaders, call your mates, and, we'll be more than happy to spend some time with you. A little bit more in person these days, but definitely, even over Zoom if that's what it takes. And we'll pray with you and just be with you, and really trust that God's going to take care and just alleviate all those concerns and burdens from us. So good stuff, Nige. Great message. Great stuff. Probably not the last time we'll hear from him at youth, I imagine, even if they are officially finishing up the end of the year. But they are, so make sure that you get around them. Obviously, we haven't had that much face-to-face time this year, but some plans have remained unchanged. So make sure you get your messages of love out, get around them, spend some time with them, have some fun, and if they've impacted your lives over the years, make sure you let them know, and you send them on to the next adventures in their lives with your blessings and good intentions. So anyway, finally, instead of me just yammering on to a screen, I've got no responses as to when people saw the French toast, the IG French toast, infamous at this point. So if you haven't seen the video, make sure that you log on to the to Instagram and to the Kainos account and have and watch the video the girls put up. It's pretty good, right? And they are adamant that they showed us some treats. That's what's on the live chat. So I've gone ahead and seen if I could find it, and this is the best that I could do. There you go. So that's at about the 84-minute mark. If someone else can do better, jump on the comments or the chat and let me know, or even, hit me up afterwards. But yeah, like I said, they did a great job on Instagram. Make sure you check out the video and all the other content. So as we are starting to wind up for the year, make sure, remember that, we're still on our socials. If you want to get in touch, if you've got things going on, you need to contact a leader or whatever, we're always here for you. That's about it, I think. So anyway, great message, great time of worship, 7:30. Let's jump on Zoom and play some games. Yes, 84 minutes. Yep. That's when I found that thing. So like I said, if you can do better, let me know. All right. You should have got a Zoom link. If you haven't, reach out to Jenna and she will send you one. And let's jump on, play some games, have a bit of fun, and enjoy a little bit of lockdown before we're forced to leave our houses. Ugh, the worst. All right, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.